People, welcome back to another episode of the Legs Podcast. We're in today for episode 109, and once again, it has been a while since we've done the last episode. But I feel like the notion of the podcast now is to definitely focus on quality rather than quantity. Prior to the 100th episode, I really became focused on getting as much content out, and what happened was, as I was publishing sometimes upwards of 3 episodes a week, it was becoming quite disposable. I feel like the people watching it, some people would just click through it. Whereas now, if I can sort of create a bit more demand around the series, I can obviously ensure that 1, everybody's going to listen to it, and 2, the info that's coming out on the podcast is going to be, very relevant and most all effective. The reason why I got into this series and actually create the Legacy Podcast was to expand my message and obviously make sure that you guys watching this, you can come away with more take-homes as opposed to just my Instagram or just my mailing list. If I'm speaking to a room full of 100 people on Instagram, by doing a podcast now, I'm able to double my room, double the people that are in my room, and obviously speak to more people, spread the message, and make sure that I can help more people. The podcast correlates with the brand and what Legs Fitness Training stands for, if that makes sense. So today we're going to be focusing on, it's going to be a weird one to explain it, but we're going to be focusing on the why and the how. Now, those are 2 random words that are quite subjective. They could be thrown around in any instance, but we're going to be obviously focusing it on consistency, your fitness goals, why you're not making progress, and how we can look at those 2 words and think, right, we need to 10x our progress and truly take things to the next level. Now, in reference to the guests, I do have a lot of guests coming on. It's actually part of the reason why there was a delay, and it's not so much an excuse. I'm not an individual to make excuses, but I was sort of waiting. When it comes to getting on guests, you have to remember that I'm an online coach that runs a business. In fact, I have another business. I'm looking to get on other coaches. These other coaches, I often get people on that are much more successful than me, much more busy than me, so I've got to align my busy schedule with their 10 times busier schedule. So getting guests on, it can definitely be easier said than done at times. So for those of you that are looking forward to hearing the guests on, it hasn't gone forgotten about. There is a lot of people coming on. The Coaches Corner is due to be launching very, very soon. If you did sort of miss any details on that, either follow the Instagram for more details, or if you go back to episode 108, I actually explain what the sub-series is going to be about, the rationale and the notion behind how it's going to take the podcast to the next level, and of course how we can deliver more take-homes. But anyway, back to business. So the why and the how. Now, the why of your fitness journey is absolutely crucial. A lot of people fall off track. I have a lot of conversations each and every single day with people wondering why they're not making progress, or they claim to be doing something and they're not getting the results. And more often than not, it's down to your why. Now, your why is a much deeper internal sense of motivation. When it comes to motivation, there are strictly 2 sources. We have the internal and we have the external. Internal is everything that goes on inside of you as a person, your mindset, your emotions, your thoughts, your feelings. External is the people around you, the environment, your daily actions, your routine, that type of stuff. And your why is simply at the bottom of both of those causes, is the deepest source of motivation, and we need to tap into that because it's going to be the only driving force that gets us out of bed in the morning. I'll put this into perspective. My why is, of course, becoming the best coach possible. It's becoming, the person that I need to be. It's, creating a legacy that I need to be the best version of me, to inspire as many people as possible. It's hard to put it into words, but it's a feeling that you just can't explain. But one thing for sure is that when I do think about my why, when I think about my goals, it literally makes me want to stop this podcast and go do some things right now and just do whatever I can to make that why a reality. It needs to be literally almost like a physical driving force of getting you off the sofa, of getting you out of bed in the morning and making you chase your goals. And again, this isn't me trying to be all like cringy motivational, because I know people don't vibe with that stuff, but your why is extremely important, because at the end of the day, it's all we have. If you're not doing something for a reason, then why are you doing it? You need to consider yourself what is your why, and why are you doing your why? It needs to be so personal to you and so individual that only you can understand it. It's like dream so big, you get uncomfortable telling small-minded people. And when you can truly find your why and what it is that you actually want and why you're doing it, I guarantee you that consistency and the how will become a non-negotiable. It'll become so much second nature. It's like breathing. For me, For example, Monday generally through to Friday, I live quite a busy lifestyle. I've obviously got my coaching business, but then the second business, it often keeps me at the office. So for me, I have to get my training done early morning, which means my day essentially starts at 4 a.m. And some people, they look at that, I get a couple of replies here and there thinking, how do you function at this time? How do you lift at that time? How do you do anything? And honestly, I'm living my best life at 4 in the morning. I can still hit PBs. I can still, make progress. And sometimes I don't want to do it, but when I look at that and I think, right, what is my why? What is my reason to do this? It makes sense. It's a non-negotiable. Me waking up at that time, me sometimes working from 4 a.m. till 11, 12 at night. It has to be done sometimes because my why just pushes me to do that. It doesn't feel like a chore. It doesn't feel like anything. It gets done. It's like breathing. It's like missing a meal. You go to a bodybuilder and ask them when was the last time they missed a meal, or why wouldn't they miss a meal? It won't commute with them. It's something that their dialogue just doesn't understand. It's the exact same with me and my why, and I want you guys to understand that. So your why, you should know by this point it's important, but you need to start understanding that you need to think long term and short term. Most people, they either do one or the other. It's almost like goal setting. So your why, it could be becoming the best version of you. It could be getting your pro card. It could be getting your dream job or starting that business. You need to understand that it needs to be so personal and so powerful that it's almost like success is the only option. There is no backing down. There is no failure. There is no setbacks. There is no nothing. Once you set that why, once you set that anchor within yourself, everything else, the internal, the external motivation, that will all come as a byproduct. But your why is part of you as a person. When I look at Legs Fitness Training, I see it stands at, like, there's a lot of myself in Legs Fitness Training. I feel like the people that follow and understand the brand, my clients, they understand that. My clients themselves are part of the brand. Your why it's not only a source of motivation, it's part of you as a person. It's part of why you do what you do. So when you can look at that and you can make it so powerful and resonate with exactly what I'm saying, and not just I want to lose weight, I want to build muscle, I want to do this, and it's just too broad, that's when you'll start having actions that correlate that. For example, half-assed efforts equal half-assed results. We can put this as practically and physically as we like to make it understandable. If you're going into a session and you're just doing 3 sets of 10, you're texting here and there, you're going with your mates, you're going for the pump, you're Snapchatting people, there's going to come an 8-week block, a 12-week block, a 6-week, 6-month. Your results are going to correlate that exactly. Yes, you may make some progress, but those results, that magnitude of results, is going to be completely proportionate of the efforts that you put in. And your why is going to be exactly that. If you have a why that's extremely powerful, and don't worry, nobody has to understand this, you don't have to go around telling everybody this, but as long as what I'm saying is resonating with you as an individual, and you can take this podcast away and think, right, this is exactly what I need to be doing right now, then that's okay. But all that means is that you're going to have a why that's going to speak through in your daily actions, that's going to make sure that your actions are so direct and so accurate that making your why is going to become a reality. If you've just got something of like, I just want to make progress, I want to make a bit of money, I want to do this, I want to do that, and you're half-assing it, you're just going to end up in this cycle of just, you make some progress, you make this progress, you do this, you do that, but you're always going to be unsatisfied. For me, I have so much fulfillment right now. I often find myself in my days now, I'm just thinking, you know what, life is good. It happened. When did it last happen? I think it was around 2 days ago. I was setting up a new client, and I was just thinking, you know what, life is good. And life is good because my actions are reflecting my why. Every single day I know that whatever I'm doing, whatever it may be, this podcast, for example, I absolutely love this podcast. It's precious to me. The people that listen, the journey that we've been on from episode 1 right through 109, there's been a lot of personal development. So the podcast means a lot to me. Everything that I'm doing is orchestrated and fine-tuned to make my why a reality, to make sure that my goals align with my vision, that will make sure that, come a couple of months now, 6 months, 6 years, whatever my time may be, that whenever that come up happens, whenever I make my big break, as terrible as that sounds, it happens because it's personal to me, and I'm doing the actions that are going to make that a reality. So I hope that obviously the why bit has obviously gave, and by using myself as an example, I hope you guys are still with me on this and you do understand that. But now we can start to focus on the how. Now, the how is very important. A lot of people, they've set their why. Their why is pretty much, it's respectable, it's a good level. But what happens is sometimes they still fall short. They still, they can come to me and think, right, Josh, I've done what you said, I've got my why, I want to become a better man for my family, I want to start a business, I want to build an empire. Why are none of these things happening? That's when we need to start putting energy into the how. The how is how you're actually doing things. So you see what I mean? We took a very simple and broad word and put it instantly into something very specific and very accurate. So we need to look at how you're doing things. So we've got your why, but how are you actually doing your daily actions? How are you actually doing your sessions, your cardio? I literally just seen a story of a guy that I've got coming on the podcast, a guy called, I've forgotten his name, the Instagram name, it's gone completely out of my head, but a lot of people, they do the cardio, they do the diets, and often than not, when they're not making progress, it's all down to how are you doing those cardios, how adherent are you staying to your nutrition, your diet, are you staying truly accountable to that? So the how focuses on your level of ability to apply the right amount of energy into those sessions. The daily actions, are you snoozing your alarm? Are you making sure that you hit every meal? Are you turning, if you've got a promotion at work, are you over-delivering? Are you showing up early and staying after time? Are you doing your overtime? Your how is extremely important. In fact, your how is on an equal level of importance to the why. You've set your why, the anchor is set, but at least now you've it's almost like if you've suffered, get paid for it. The how is the really reaping the rewards of it. You've done your suffering, you've done your due diligence. Start reaping the rewards from it. Make sure that your how, you're actually approaching these daily tasks with the intent to grow. And again, going back to the whole practicality of it, if you want your body to grow, you've got to give it a reason to do so. Humans by nature, we're very, very reactive. If you put something in front of us, we will respond and we will react accordingly. Our training, you provide X amount of stimulus, the body will create an adaptive response in correlation to the given stimulus. You need to make sure that if you want your body to change physically, mentally, emotionally, even from an energy perspective or a complete lifestyle transformation, you have to input the right level of energy, the right level of focus. So the how is extremely important. Again, I can even take this to Ronnie Coleman. Everybody want to be a bodybuilder, but don't nobody want to lift no heavy ass weights. I almost just stuttered myself a new life there, so please do bear with me. But what I'm trying to say here is that some people claim change. They've got their why set and they're like, I want to do this and I want to do that. But then we look at their daily actions and all of a sudden we find out they only kind of want to build an empire. They only kind of want to build a fucking 7-figure kingdom. They only kind of want to be a better person for themselves and their future family. You have to look at your how and think, right, do I truly want this? How bad do I want this? And believe me, when you can do all of everything that I've said, your how is orchestrated perfectly, your why is individualized to you as a person, and it makes up part of you as a person. All of the stuff that you're currently facing, the barriers, you will literally not only pass through them, you will quite literally obliterate them. So when I was doing my level 3, I'll use myself as an example here. I used to have to wake up at, what time was it now? It was about 4:30, so now I actually wake up earlier. I used to have to wake up at 4:30 because I didn't drive, and obviously I had to get a taxi, but where I worked, it was a different location, and I looked ill. In fact, you can literally scroll through my Instagram to around 2018, you will see a change in my appearance. My skin was pale, I had bags under my eyes, I used to sleep around 4 hours a day because I was doing these 16-hour shifts to obviously cover rent, whilst obviously still making sure I had some income to pay my rent, bills, stuff like that. And I was going on like 4 hours of sleep. I didn't really have any money to eat, so my training was quite poor. It just wasn't a good time in life for me at all. I didn't enjoy it. In fact, at sometimes I had no money. I had to stay over at the gym because obviously I didn't have money to get a taxi. Now, we fast forward to now, I'm still waking up early. I'm still doing these things, but I actually don't feel tired. I'm not ill. I'm thriving. I'm living my best life because it's done for me and it's done in a way that suits me and my goals. So you need to make sure that everything that you're doing, it's suited to you as an individual. It reflects your how. Because obviously now I'm doing actions that correlate with my daily goals. I'm doing everything that is in tune with my vision. Everything now is allowing me to produce positive emotions. I do my positive affirmations, my mindset works for me. Everything is done for me. If you can't get your lifestyle, your routine to work for you, it's only ever going to work against you. The person that I was back in 2018 is completely different to the person that I am now. I'm full of life, I have energy, I have a good business that's growing and it's only going to scale even further. I have good people around me. Whereas we go back in time and everything that I was doing, it wasn't aligning with my actions. I wasn't giving in the right effort. And as a result, I had to pay the price. I was suffering. So again, I'm using myself as an example because when I say these things on podcasts, more often than not, it comes from personal experience. I want you guys to win, and I want you guys to actually, take the wins from this, because this podcast has been designed to create the most level of take-homes for you. So we're going to wrap the podcast up there, guys. I hope you did enjoy it. Again, make sure you repost on your stories and let me know your thoughts. Most of all, I quite like this episode.